To get it started, I'd like to introduce Alberto Mellado Moreno.
Thank you, Shaina. Oops, it's too dark. I'd like to thank to Kim, Anno, and all the people that's making the Rising Tide conference possible. And I belong to a small tribe in Sonora State, Mexico. And we used to be a big nation. Now we are a small tribe. We used to be 16,000 people back in the 16th century, and we are less than 1,000 today. And I would like to show you a project that has been built in the last 2 years with the cooperation of American universities, as Northern Arizona University through their Center for Sustainable Environment, the Packard Foundation support, Ocean Revolution, and many institutions alongside with us. But it's totally indigenous-driven and totally indigenous-conceived effort. So it's a native aquaculture project, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how my tribe is connected to the ocean. And I'll give you an introduction about my culture, for those that doesn't know to the Comcac culture. I'll tell you the threats that we are facing, such as environmental threats and cultural threats. I'll tell you how elders and youth are working to deal with that. I'll bring you a brief review of the project, what are the tools that we are obtaining, and I have an invitation for you. So let's begin with the culture. The Comcac culture have a... Well, let's make the flight to my territory. So that we are in northwest Mexico. We are located in the Gulf of California, right by Sonora's coast. This is a satellite view. We own the island. That's the biggest island in Mexico, and we own that, and a portion of mainland. And that that used to be our territory in the 16th century, and that's our small territory now. But we have the rights and the ownership of that territory, which is a huge difference among indigenous cultures, because not many cultures have their own delimited territory. This satellite view of what it looks like. We have mangroves areas, we have bays, we have mountains, and the desert right by the ocean. That's a traditional camp, and as you can see, it's not developed. We don't have big buildings. That's a shade for fishermen, small 23-feet boats, and that's a picture of the landscape. That's how it looks like. It's the desert right by the sea. We still have our culture very strong. We still have our everyday native language. We have our tradition, our traditional dressing, our fisheries, our face painting. We're still very at our way. And since we are kids, we are connected to the ocean. We are connected to our oral traditions, and we are in touch with all those species that the marine environment have. And elders are teaching us about the behavior of the animals, the ecology, the biology. Now you have names for those science, but for us, it's a way of life. We have a really strong culture on sea turtles, especially the leatherback. It's very sacred. And sea turtles are important species for many indigenous and non-indigenous cultures around the world. And then when we grow up, we have to rely on fisheries for living, and we do fishing. And we are applying all that traditional knowledge that we are learning to spot where to fish, when to fish, and how to fish. And also, the ecological systems inspire artists that do hand woven baskets, and where they draw mountains, animals, and the species are inspiring the art. So if some species disappear, we are losing a part of our culture and art. And That's how um, the ecology and environmentalism meets indigenous cultures. We have embedded all that. We don't need separate words because it's our way of living. But not all is that romantic. So we have threats. We are facing clandestine fishing conducted by outsiders, especially nets and hookah diving. Hookah diving is a very basic diving system. It's a homemade diving system. It's about a motor powering up air compressor and garden hose for providing air to the diver. And it's very risky. It's very complicated system, and it can cause the death of many fishermen in a year. We have shrimp trawling. We're facing fishing nets and sea turtle catch, endangered species catching, sacred sites destruction, tourists without ecological awareness, unfair economic relationships. About the fisheries, we are at the low step of the price market or the market chain. We have lack of local government action and support. All those threats are affecting the culture as well. We have culturally valued species, population pressure. We are having sacred site destruction, and we are having exclusive fisheries right violations. We're having loss of traditional knowledge. The arts are diminishing, discrimination, and we are bringing an endangered cultural heritage to the next generation. So how do we deal with that? And that's the question. Since 1996, our elders agree to bring an annual session of training to the young kids, to the youth, in order to pass all the knowledge, as much knowledge as they can, about ecology, about biology, about culture, language, songs, everything that concerns our way of life in order to protect them, because we are in a transition to the 21st century. We need to acquire the tools to survive as culture and as people. And we have needs, and the elders know, and there are many sciences in the Western civilization, Western society that can contribute to that. And we are open. We have an open mind to work with them in order to have a successful work and being an example for the rest of the tribes and the rest of society, contribute to humanity. The elders are training kids in arts, in songs, in all art disciplines, and it has been very effective. And the youth is willing to learn because they know the value of that cultural heritage. They know how important it is to learn. We're having kids every year getting trained on sea turtles, on birds monitoring, on aquaculture, native aquaculture, sustainable, and traditional harvesting, and all sort of things. And it's been amazing living this experience. And the results are successful projects that are totally sustainable and are helping us to keep our culture alive. And of course, the elders are leading since last year an international cultural exchange with other Saltwater people that all around the world. And we were to visit the Torres Strait Islanders in Australia and the Aboriginal people. We are visiting the Kuna indigenous people from Panama this year for a leatherback-based cultural exchange. So we are sharing science, we are sharing traditional knowledge, traditions, and how to deal with issues. The elders are very valuable to us.